This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Traitors and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hello, Jim Toth, as I live and breathe. Still here, still kicking.
Still living and breathing.
Still living and breathing.
To the dismay of some, I'm sure, but hopefully not most.
There's been some doubters through the years. Can't believe it.
We're
Jim Toth still
at this
around.
age, baby. Happy Monday, everybody, and happy Father's Day to all the dads. Cam, I was waiting for this. Happy Father's Day. Your first Father's Day as a father.
Thank you very much.
Other than to me.
Yeah.
You're a father figure to me.
Oh, I didn't know. Wow.
Clean it up, Jim.
Holy moly.
Look at your desk.
Not today, Jim.
How was it?
Not today.
Not today. Not on my watch.
It was good. You know, we went out to Gimli, had some fish and chips, walked the pier. Did our thing out there. So it was
a nice
nice.
Little Sunday. Bed Bath and Beyond. Or were you not sure you'd have time?
No, we didn't have time.
Oh, you didn't have
no
time.
Bed Bath and Beyond.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll have time.
We had time for the bed. We had time for the bath. Not time for the Beyond.
You didn't walk by an establishment out there and go, you know what? I'll have one.
We didn't have time. There was a Interlake Brewing down there on the main drag there in Gimli, and I was staring at it. It was
Fired
calling
up
my
again.
name.
Let's have it. So good when it hits
It was calling my name, but no,
Happy
didn't
Father's
have time.
Day,
Had to go
buddy.
visit some friends
It
out
hits
there
different,
too.
right?
The day is definitely different. Yeah. It's definitely.
I had a great day.
Yeah, my wife got me some wonderful gifts.
That's nice. You mean your son did?
Oh yeah. Sorry, it was
Even though he's 8 months.
My son got them for me.
He drove to the store.
Yeah. There's always I did the same thing on Mother's Day. I'm like, I didn't get this for you. Our son did. And then it's like, aw. And then he just looks at you with his big eyes and he was like, ah?
Yeah.
And it's like, this kid's already taking credit for all the stuff that I
So you wait a couple of years and you get, what did I get? Can I open this for you? And then it's like, what did I get? I'm like, you got to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got this roof over your head.
Thank your life for me. You know,
I've become my father. You get life and a roof over your head. Food on the table.
He's not wrong.
This coaster's for me. Anyway, I hope all the fathers have a great
Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line. We'll win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method.
By the way, you can get a monthly pass there. Sorry, before you give the number, it would be a great Father's Day gift.
Oh, that is amazing. Just because if you miss something, make up for him. Get him a pass at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program as we come at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Try the new Triple Pep Pizza only at Boston Pizza. Hey, so Team Canada's announced its OG6, the original 6 here heading into the Olympics. We'll talk about that as the show rolls on. Also, some Jets also named to some other teams. One of those may be a Jet. Don't know yet. You know, might be a former Jet. Jet is of right now Nikolai Ehlers. Like obviously, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, also, I mean, we might find out today if Hart winner, Vezina winner, and soon to be traded Connor Hellebuck will make the Olympic team in the U.S.
Yeah, the U.S. hasn't said anything yet, so there might be some more added to that list before the show is done. We'll talk about that. And the Jets, they inked one of their prospects as well over the weekend.
I saw that.
An entry-level contract. We'll discuss that too as the show goes on. But as we do on Mondays, we do the Monday reheat. We reheat those leftovers from Free For All Friday, and it was an especially spicy Free For All Friday last week, where we go over some of the texts and some of the things that we missed over the course of Friday's show. Of course, we get a bunch of text messages, but if you do call in on Fridays, Free For All, it's a phone-in, mainly an open line show for you to call in and give us your thoughts about the Winnipeg Jets, what they should or should not do. Take opinions of all kind, but when we take callers, some of the texters get kind of lost in the shuffle here. So I like to go back and I like to pick some of the best ones and so that Jim and I can discuss. Like this one. This one comes from this texter who says, fellas, how about trying to get Brayden Schenn as 2C since his name is once again out there?
Is it out there again?
According to this texter, it is. I haven't particularly seen that.
I have not heard that. And one of the reasons he wasn't traded is because he talked to his teammates and they felt they could make the playoffs, and then they did. So I wonder that. But look, I think Brayden Schenn, the other guy that came on my radar in the weekend. So the hot takes were, well, the hottest takes that caused the most controversy were the trading of Connor Hellebuck.
We'll get back to that before the show's over.
But the reason I brought that up is because you don't have to trade him to improve this team and find what you need. And so I wouldn't trade him, obviously. But one of the other names that came up to me on the weekend, and and he's a right winger, which I think Perfetti and Verlardi are going to be here, is Alex Tuch. And his name came up. He had 67 points in 82 games, 36 goals last year with Buffalo. And they apparently want to move on and get a little younger and all that. He's only 29 years old.
Buffalo needs to get younger.
Whatever. I can't even quantify whatever Buffalo's doing. They want to get rid of him. I don't know why.
Makes no sense, yeah.
But 36 goals, 67 points. But the ilk of player is what I'm talking about, is you could go and acquire and bring in. Is it like an Alex Tuch type player? Now, again, he's a right winger. But there are players of his ilk at 29, 30 years old that you can go out and grab, like in a trade. It's going to cost you, but I think those are ways you can improve this team. And the grittiness that he would bring, that all people say they need to be more gritty. We're debating all the things they need, but he's size, he's physical, he can produce, 219, 6'4". That type of player is the type of player I think the Jets need. I think they need another forward and another D-man to get him over the hump.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading an article in the Hockey News about attainable second-line centers the Jets can pursue in free agency. On there is Matt Duchene, Mikael Granlund, Pius Sutter. Sutter had his best year. Pius Sutter, sorry. Yeah, he had his best season last year in the National Hockey League. I don't know. Is there any of those names sort of jump out? Matt Duchene.
They all do. Like any name like that, even Duchene's, I'll have a look at. Now, I think Duchene's a little older and he couldn't score in the playoffs, but he can still do things.
He can still produce, yeah.
This is what's different to me, Cam, and I've said this for a while now, that they're at that point where they can, the start guys today, McGarry and Macklin, were asking me, what about the Corey Perrys? What about, I'm watching Andre Henrique not have a big role for the Oilers, but they're watching Brad Marchand and Corey Perry at 37 and 39 years old. And I'm like, 3 years ago, I'm like, no. Yeah. Now I'm like, yes. If you could bring in a Corey Perry-like guy despite his age and have him do what he's doing in that bottom six, and I know he's been bumped up and shifted lines and stuff. Yeah. Brad Marchand at 37 years old. And people might laugh at this, but if Brad Marchand's going to get $5 million in the open market on a 3-year deal, do you not go, here's 2 years at 6.5? I mean, argue with me.
No,
68, 68, because this team isn't, bringing along. Kelly Moore's Jets report today is fascinating because Kevin Cheveldayoff said last offseason, it's time for you young players to come in and take a spot. And how this frustrates me about the misnomer of that, people are blocked. Selamonsson's blocked because Pionk got 7 years, blah, blah, blah. No, he's not. You can come in and get yourself a spot on this team by playing better than some of these veterans. And the worst thing that'll happen is the veterans will be moved down in the lineup. But I don't think that's happening, right? Brad Lambert had 7 goals in the American Hockey League this year. And we keep talking about Brad Lambert. Mm-hmm. I like Brad Lambert. I think he's got a future in this organization. I think he's going to be in the top 6 eventually. But what if last year with the Moose screams that Brad Lambert's NHL ready to the point of 25 goals and 60 points in the top 6? Nothing I saw last year leads me to believe that. And you're not at that window anymore where we're finding pieces, we're making the playoffs, you're at the part where it's like you got to win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 to 3 years. You are Stanley Cup ready. So why not Brad Marchand? Why not like the Corey Perrys of the world? Oilers are going to bring him back on a $1 or $2 million deal. Give him 3.
That's why the Jonathan Taves deal is so interesting.
It's fascinating,
it's
right?
exactly in that wheelhouse. I mean, I know that he's missed some time, of course, dealing with some health issues, and Marchand and Perry have been playing throughout the last couple of years here. But but if he comes in and gives you 45 points in the bottom 6 and wins faceoffs and come playoff time. Is like, I didn't think I'd play again, let alone in the playoffs. Here I go. Ken Weeb was on the show on Thursday. He got me a little bit more excited about the prospect of Jonathan Taves actually coming in and having more of an impact than maybe that we're giving him credit for. I mean, Brad Marchand's 37 years old. Yeah. Corey Perry's 39. Do you need Taves to come in and score 60 points? Yes, if he's a second-line center. Mm-hmm. But if he's anything else, 50 points and penalty killing and face-offs. I don't know about penalty killing, but face-offs, face-offs for sure. He's still one of the, I think he might. He's up there. It still is one of the best. The way Bieksa on the weekend broke down Brad Marchand off the face-offs and his 3-step jump, he literally scored a goal off it. Those are things that young players out there should be watching. Going, what is Marchand doing off the face-off? Mm-hmm.
Bieksa just broke it down for you. And then Bieksa brought up Game 7 against the Bruins in 2011 where Marchand did it to him. So they're at that point where they don't need somebody to come in and be a world changer. They need somebody to come in and give them one or two things that they're not getting a lot of right now. And that'll put you over the hump.
Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Dig into the new Triple Pep Pizza and Double Trouble Nachos, available now only at Boston Pizza. The number one caller on Friday will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza. If you call that line, 204-780-6800. Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, the Jets inking up a prospect, but the odds of them being in North America next season, well, we'll have to wait and see. There's no doubt about that. We'll have to wait and see. And some more members of the Winnipeg Jets named to Olympic teams. All that still to come as we continue to go over the Monday reheat of Friday's leftovers.
Warm it up. Warm it up.
Welcome back. Hey, the Team USA has come out with their their OG6 here heading into the Olympics. We'll tell you what that is before the show is out. The Winnipeg Jets signed defenseman Alphonse Frey to a 3-year entry-level contract on Saturday. The Jets picked him 37th overall back in 2024 with IF Bjorkloven. He scored 2 goals and 8 points in 29 games at 19 years old. He is touted for his skating abilities. He's expected to go back to Sweden next season for his SHL debut in the Swedish Elite League, so unlikely to see him with the Moose next season. Of the Jets' 4 picks in 2024, they've already signed 3 of them. Frey and Kevin He and Kieran Walton, who have been big standouts in the O so far. They had a great season, so it's been an exciting crop for the Jets not picking so early on in that draft. It's been good to them so far.
Left shot defenseman too, right? So I like this. I like what he's seen so far. I'm fully admitting I don't know much about him other than I remember when he was drafted.
No, it's
and I remember hearing he can skate, right?
Yeah, it's so interesting that when these guys come from Sweden and they stay in Sweden or Finland or the Czech Republic or wherever, we don't ever get to know too much about them, right? Because usually the main scouting is North America. And so, it's kind of a wait and see. I'm not surprised that he's going to go back to Sweden next year.
I like that he's going back.
So do I. I mean, he's still going to play against, a higher I don't know, the OHL, where the AHL in the Swedish league rank in terms of hockey. I think the A would probably be still a higher caliber player.
I think so, but look, the reason I like this is he's 19, right?
Yeah.
This reeks to me that, first of all, you get 3 years, even though it doesn't start next year. Mm-hmm. If he comes and plays for the Moose and then you're waiting for him to come up, right? Let him grow, let him mature, let him become, a man. He's 19. Yeah. If he comes at 21 even, Cam, he might make the team. That's what I like about this, right? If he comes over and then, I don't know if that's going to happen, but the ELC obviously isn't going to kick in this year, so that's great. He'll be 20 at the earliest when it does, and then it looked at. But I think this is...
And Kevin He and Kieran Walton, all indications that those two guys will likely go back to the O2 as well. There's no reason to rush them.
Look, there isn't a lot of room here.
No.
And the room that there is, they want to probably go outside and try and fill it.
We'll be right back. More reheat after this.
And Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hello, welcome back as we reheat some of the spiciness from Friday's leftovers. Let the spice just calm down a little bit. Leave it in the fridge over the weekend. I don't think that really helps. I think if something's spicy, it's still spicy, right?
Not a fan of the spice, actually.
You're not?
Just in food. Yeah, I'm not a
You're not
Kung
a spice
Pao guy.
You're not like a Kung Pao.
George likes Kung Pao chicken.
George likes his chicken spicy.
Jim does not. Jimmy does not.
Yeah. Well, it is a time and place,
Jimmy likes Elaine, but he doesn't like Kung Pao chicken.
George likes his chicken spicy. The U.S. announced its top 6 heading into Olympics. We'll get to that before the show's up. And hey, we still got to give away a car wash from my good friends at Wash Method. Jets Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line and win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We're coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Try the new Triple Pep Pizza only at Boston Pizza. And while you're doing that, download the Jets Noon podcast free now on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, with exclusive Jets talk and content only found there. Take Jets Noon wherever you go and continue the conversation whenever you want. In today's episode of the podcast exclusive, Tyson gives us his mock Team Canada for the upcoming Olympics too as well. So we bat that around. Mark Scheifele better be on that list, or I'm coming at Tyson. I would sick and tired of it.
I would think it'd be impossible not to be now.
And I want to fight Tyson on like the best of days, but if he doesn't have Scheifele on that, I'll really fight him.
I see that.
I just don't want to. I'm tired of just the threats. Like,
it's
I want to
building. It's a slow burn.
And I'm tired of the threats.
And I also backtrack a little bit on two of the guys that made the Four Nations team. So
yeah, find out what that's all about. Let's go back to some text messages here. This one says, hi, leave Helly alone. Sign and trade Ehlers and a draft pick for a younger, cheaper up-and-coming center. Give Yager and Lambert a shot early. That one from John. Yeah, like we continued on this conversation in the first segment. If you missed that, download the podcast, Jets at Noon. But like always, especially if they don't bring in somebody to fill that spot through trade or free agency, both will be given a more than fair shot to earn it. But there was one guy that you really liked, Jim, and this one is from Kevin. Kevin says, Elliot Friedman said on his recent podcast that the Sabres are open for serious offers on JJ Peterka because he wants out. If Ehlers is likely gone, why don't the Jets go get him? He's 23 years old, scored 27 and 28 goals in his first two seasons. He would be a steal, Jim. You like this pick.
I've been telling you for a year. Yeah. I really like this, John, is JJ Peterka. He's from Munich, Germany. He had 27 goals last year, 68 points in 77 games. He might have had the quietest 68 points in 77 games. Mm-hmm. He also, the previous year, had 50 points with 28 goals. So he's got back-to-back 28 and 27 goal seasons in 82 and 77 games. He's 6 feet, 189. He's got a ton of skill. I don't mind that, right?
Yeah.
Like if Ehlers is going to command 8.5, 9. Now he's a right winger, but he shoots left. So, but these are the names that I'm thinking out there that you can go and acquire. And you did a great segment of putting together on whether they should trade the first round pick or not. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have a pick till the third round then, but and I also think there's some maintenance to be done. Like if you go and make a couple trades and get a guy like this or Alex Tuck or somebody, I think then you sort of start dealing from your depth, right? Like say they go get another top 4 D-man. And wherever it slots in, maybe they play 5-6, but they're a top 4 caliber. Mm-hmm. You got to start offsetting some, maybe get a 6th-round pick for some depth D, maybe a 5th-round pick. I think the center position too, like, I know far be it from me, Kevin Chevalier is probably sitting here, the more the merrier. Like, I don't care. We wanted to keep all our centermen. Yeah. But Gustafsson, Bear, and, everybody sitting here that you can sort of free up some space that way. And let's be honest, if you go get a guy like this, it's going to be probably a pick. It's going to be a Gustafsson or somebody that they can put in the lineup, right? It might not be a top 6 guy, but look, we like Gustafsson and we're going to play him all the time. So you're going to clean up some of the depth that way. But I appreciate the text because these are guys that are scoring 50 and 60 some points.
68 points,
last year, close to 70 as a 23-year-old. These are the moves that you go make. And they're Winnipeg moves, Cam, because they're RFAs, right? So you got to give them some money and you got to lock them up for a bit. But 2 to 3 years for John Jay, he's 25 years old, see what he can do. It might cost you even more in the end, but as of right now,
move assets, make moves like this. Yeah,
these are the types of moves that, like, I'll put it to you this way: I like Mason Appleton. You know that. I know a lot of people don't like the lack of offense, but I like everything he does. But if he's moving on, I would rather, even if he's moving on for $2.5 million, and this is going to cost you $4.5, I do it because he's 23 years old and he has way more offense.
Well, and also when you're looking at guys like JJ Peterka, and I think there's more than just these kinds of there's more than just JJ Peterka out there that could come in here and be an impact player. But if it involves packaging up a Brad Lambert or something like that and the first round pick and then a guy that can slot into the lineup, I do it, honestly.
Well,
this is the year to make moves like that.
If you're talking that caliber of a trade, then I think you go get a second line center with that kind of commodity. But I don't know what the market is. And I'm fine with the Jets overpaying right now.
Me too.
But if you could go down your right side, Cam, and say he's going to play the right side, and I know Ehlers is probably leaving, so they're looking at the left, but if you could go Velarde, Perfetti, JJ Peterka, and have Peterka on a line with Lowry and Niederreiter.
Yeah.
I mean, that offense compared to Mason Appleton's, that's a huge upgrade.
Dom texts the show and says, need to go outside of the organization because no one in the organization could replace 27. JJ would be a great replacement. Thanks for
I don't know
Dom.
if he could replace Ehlers, but I think that's the way you go is if Ehlers is going and it's costing 8.5 or 9, then you go get a 23, 24-year-old and pay him 5 or 6. And
this texter says here, may have missed it, but did you mention Kyle Connor on the first All-Star team? Does that make him one of the best wingers in the NHL? Well, if it's the first All-Star team for 24-25 and on that first team with the likes of Nathan McKinnon and Nikita Kucherov and Cale Makar and Zach Werenski and Kyle Connor is the left wing on that group, yeah, I would put him as one of the best wingers in the NHL. 2 Jets were on that list too as well. Hellebuck was the first team goaltender as well. So yeah, no, congratulations to KC. We did mention it on Friday, but we didn't spend, I think, enough time on it. But this is a great honor and just an impact of how good Kyle Connor and how respected he is across the league.
This is the lost story of the playoffs. The lost story. And we tried to tell you when I said that, like Ehlers, Morrissey, Hellebuck, Scheifele, when they got their bigger deals, it was all $6 million. When Kyle Connor got his, it was 7.1. I think he's going to be the highest paid Jet. I think he's going to make $9.5 million because he could probably get 11 or 12 on the market. And people laugh at me when I say that. He's a first-team All-Star. He had 93 points in the regular season. He had 17 points in 13 playoff games. He's more than a point-per-game player in the playoffs. He was against Colorado last year, too. In 5 games, he had 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bona fide superstar. He's a 90-point guy again. He's going to hit 50 goals in my mind one year. And he's a first-team All-Star in the National Hockey League. Think of all the left wingers in the National Hockey League, and he's the All-Star. He's a superstar.
The NHL needs to make a bigger deal of this, I think. It's kind of like they just kind of throw the first-team All-Star out there. They kind of just name them and move on. But I think there needs to be more recognition of this, because it kind of flies under the radar. It's an amazing
people
honor.
Look at the All-Star game and think that's what it is. It's not.
No, the All-Star game doesn't count anymore.
When you get the All-Star team at the end of the year, that's like the top players at their position.
Yeah.
I mean, what left winger would you want more? And I know somebody out there is going to say you're a homer. I'm not. I've been saying this for years, even when he wasn't good defensively. I've never seen hands like that.
We don't choose this.
I shouldn't say never seen hands. I've never seen hands like that on a Jets
We don't
team.
choose this. So if we're homers, then we have nothing to do with this voting that picked Kyle Connor as the best left winger in the league last year.
He is a superstar, and he's going to get more than...
People are just starting to notice, everybody, about guys like Kyle
I'll
Connor.
put it to you this way.
Yeah.
It would absolutely floor me if he stays a Jet and signs for 8.5 like Hellebuck and Scheifele did. I think he's going to get 9.5 or 9.
Yeah.
9 would be surprising.
I wouldn't. Would 10 surprise you for Kyle Connor?
He could be the first 10. And that's might what it be, right? Like they could go, here's 9, 9.5, and he goes, do 10 and I'll stay. But it would surprise me if anybody gets 10.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a Hart Trophy winner who's at 8.5.
That's where the things start.
But right? I think with Connor, just look, you get paid to score goals in this league. If you score a ton of goals, and then the next thing you get paid for is points. And he's got both. And so I think he becomes a Jets' highest paid player. That's just my opinion.
Here's a texture here. This one goes, 16 teams make the playoffs, 1 wins the cup. We have a Vezina Trophy winner who in the playoffs plays well at home, but can't seem to win on the road and has a hard time getting past the second round. So I guess the fans should be happy. We have a great goaltender who can get the team to the playoffs, and that's it? ? Hellebuck let in some iffy goals when on the road, over his shoulder, from far out, etc. Even the announcers with a lot more experience than you two, I guess that's in reference to Jim and I here, were questioning his play. Furthermore, I think it's pretty sad that 2 Canadian radio personalities are rooting for a U.S. team over a Canadian team, especially given the current U.S. situation and given a Canadian team hasn't won the Cup in 32 years. Okay, we'll get to your first little part in just a second here, but I don't think my patriotism is on the line because I don't like the Oilers. And it's not even that I don't like the Oilers. It's in fact, I hate the Oilers. I'm not cheering for them. I will never cheer for them. So if you're in the camp of you think that a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup will, stick it to Donald Trump or the Americans, I'm sorry. I just think you're totally wildly out of touch. If that is the only reason you're going for Edmonton is to give a jab to the United States, you're totally misinterpreting this. And listen, they don't care. If you're on the camp, though, if you want a Canadian team to win because of what hockey means to this country, and that it's been since 1993 that Canadian City has been able to celebrate a cup win, I get that 100%. 100%. But if you're going to try and paint me as anti-Canadian because I'm a Jets fan and I don't like the Oilers and I'm actively rooting against them to lose tomorrow, that's totally unfair.
I look at it this way, Cam.
I'm a proud Canadian who hates the Edmonton Oilers.
Patriotism is about loyalty. No?
I would agree.
Loyalty is to your team. You don't switch.
Don't be a team switcher.
So I disagree with that too. Sorry, I don't think Trump cares if the Oilers win. In fact, if they do win, he'll find the American players on that team and go, "Oh, what a great victory for." Yeah. Are there American players on that team?
Not that many on the
Oilers.
On the Oilers, but there has to be.
So that's what he'll do. I'm just as pro Canada as anybody. And if you listen to my other show, you know that I've been pounding this drum about the 51st state, and it's not funny, and we need to stand up and demand respect.
Trent Frederick, Max Jones, they have Americans.
So
Derek Ryan.
Two Canadian broadcasters don't have to cheer for every Canadian team that's going on. I'm loyal to my team that I grew up cheering for since I was 8 years old. That's my team. I cover the Jets. Do I hope they win? I do, because it's better for our show, and it's fun when we're covering playoffs than it is the other time. But if they lose, I'm not devastated, or I just do that for fun. So that's that question. The other one was about Hellebuck, was it?
Yes. Yeah, it was. The other question was, so we should just be happy that we have a great goalie that gets us to the playoffs. Helly let in some iffy goals, went on the road over his shoulder from far out, etc. Even announcers with a lot more experience than me and you were questioning his play.
We questioned his play. This is what gets lost in this all the time. We questioned his play. When they went to St. Louis and he got pulled and pounded, we didn't come on the air and go, it wasn't Helly's fault. I did point out that because he let 6 in, one was a breakaway. Remember when Cam Fowler came down the middle unabated and scored a goal? Well, that's not on Connor Hellebuck.
The Jets totally handed over the middle of the ice that game.
But also, when in Dallas and he gets scored on by Granlund in the power play just over the blue line, we both said that's on Hellebuck. He's got to save that one. So it's not, I find we live in this world, right, where you take one thing and you go, that's who they are, that's what they think. If you just listen, it's not that way. Hellebuck has to be better in the playoffs. And when he did get better, he had a really good series against Dallas. But here's my point. If you listen to podcasts today, I dove into this. This is a guy you're telling me is never going to win in the playoffs because he's had 3 rough ones in a row. This is a guy that was playing junior B hockey in Texas. Never should have smelt college hockey. And he went to college hockey and became the best goaltender in college hockey. He was drafted in the 5th round. He's gone from playing junior hockey in Texas because nobody wanted him to playing NCAA hockey to winning 3 Vezinas in 5 years and now a Hart Trophy. And you're convinced over that journey that he'll never figure it out come playoff time? He should have never made the league, and he did. He's won 3 Vezinas and now a Hart Trophy. He struggles in the playoffs the past couple of years, not the first 3 years he made the playoffs, but the past couple. And in the most recent playoffs, he struggled mightily in the first round and was great in the second round. I'll bet on him figuring it out any day of the week.
Brenda says, good day, gentlemen, as we go to break. I totally believe in all you say about patriotism, and what does it have to do with the Oilers or Edmonton for that matter? Yeah, totally. Like, what does me cheering for the Oilers or cheering against them have to do with my love of Canada? This doesn't make sense to me. We are Canadian
loyalty.
fans,
I grew
love
up
hockey.
Detesting the Oilers. If McDavid and Draisaitl get one, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, those are great stories. Good for them. I'm happy those individuals
Good old Canadian
want a cup.
boys.
But I'm never going to sit here and go Oilers, go.
You know what I really hated was that Four Nations overtime. I hated that.
I would rather die on my feet than bend the knee. I'm loyal that way.
Yeah, let's take a break. On the other side, hey, the United States is named its top 6, and there's some more Jets on the top 6 of some of the men's hockey teams. We'll discuss that heading into the Olympics.
On 680 CJOB.
Well, Kevin had the winning text message. He was brought up J. Paterka. In the earlier discussion, he's got himself a car wash, my good friends at Wash Method, 690 St. Anne's Road.
Congratulations.
Miss your chance to get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Dig into the new Triple Pep Pizza and Double Trouble Nachos, available now only at Boston Pizza. The number one caller on Friday will be awarded a $50 gift certificate to Boston Pizza. The U.S. has announced their top 6. Jack Eichel, Quinn Hughes, Austin Matthews, Charlie McAvoy, Brady, and Matthew Tkachuk. So not committing to any goaltender. They have such a glut. It could be Jay Gottinger. It could be Connor Hellebuck. It could be Thatcher Demko. So they're not committing to any goaltenders for the United States. And Hellebuck was not named to the top 6 of the United States team. Elsewhere, maybe soon to be former Jet. There's some rumors going around or some talk. Much of the talk is, and none of this has been confirmed or anything like that, but Nikolai Ehlers is going to be heading to free agency on July 1st. But he was the number 1 pick coming out of Denmark. And Nito Niederreiter, also on the Swiss team.
Nito Niederreiter. So give me fuel, give me fire, give me Nito Niederreiter.
And yeah, there you go, Jim Toth. Jim Toth will take you all the way until 2 o'clock. Thank you very much, Jeffrey Forche.
Thanks for the text and the...
Thank you for the text message.
Fun.
We need to go out to Winnipeg Beach and hang out with Forche one of these times.
Forche's out at that beach.
Tip a few back. I almost caught him. I was in Gimli on Sunday. I almost caught up with Forche, but he gets out of there early on Sunday. He likes to get home and relax.
Well, he's got to get up early.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't know if you have enough time for Bed Bath & Beyond.
My uncle used to go. Because he would just drive. He'd get up really early and drive on Monday.
You ever see Hal Anderson out at Gimli?
Nope. Never saw Hal.
His car just maybe 5 minutes away from mine.
No, I haven't saw Hal.
His is in the mountains.
All right, we gotta
go. His is up in like the Beverly Hills of Gimli.
There's spotlights all day long.
The gated community.
Big spotlights just shining on the house with a big sign that just says Hal.
People outside are like, is Hal home? I don't know.
It goes red and green. Red and green. It blinks. All right, see you guys later.